Ladies and gentlemen, good day to you all, and welcome back to the Coffee Cast Tuesday edition, which is our amateur Starcraft night. I am back with our winner from the previous game, a little bit of a surprise upset there. B being able to take out the Terran Titan T in that last TvT matchup. He is going to be spotting here on the lower left here, as the yellow Terran player. And in the top right here on Abyssal Caverns, the latter version, because there is no MLG version, we are going to have AciesPure, the teal Protoss. Man, I cannot get the races out. The teal Protoss player. I know Pure is quite the Protoss player. He used to be Diamond. I've heard that he is Platinum now. So, I've played against both these players. I'm sorry, B, I'm going to have to give the advantage to Pure in this case. However, in that last matchup, we saw B right on top of his game, and I know that lately he's been working on a couple of new PvT game tricks. So it will be interesting to see what B comes out with here, because in these lower levels of play, you can see anything happen. I've even actually seen a 200-200 probe attack game. It was incredible before. So everything fairly standard. We have no proxies going down. You don't bunker rush versus Terran versus Protoss. So nothing too fun in the early game. Ladies and gentlemen, today's cast is brought to you by Decaf Coffee, because I have 7 o'clock class in the morning, and I would love to be able to wake up for that and be able to get to sleep. By the way, just to let you all know, the winner of the previous game will always go on to play in the next game unless they wish not to play, in which case the loser of the previous game will get the chance to go on and play, and if they don't want to play, well, then we'll just have two completely new players. But we are doing a King of the Hill style of matchup, because that just kind of seems fair, whatever. We do have a 2-Rex coming out from B, sometimes used to apply a little bit of pressure, sometimes used to expand, and it looks like we're going to see an expansion behind this one, as there is just now a gas being dropped for B. And actually we have a double gas, so perhaps not. A double gas, I'll be honest, I don't really know what that indicates for a Terran in the early game. Now, I do know from Pure here, if we were going to see any sort of tech play, we'd have already seen this second Vespian Geyser go down. I would actually expect to see an expansion coming out of AciesPure. Because as the 1-gate expand is extremely potent versus Terran players. If you do it right, you can actually even hold off any sort of early game stim concussive shell push. Once again, very powerful. We do have Warp Gate and a Stalker on the way. And nothing much going on. We do have a double engineering coming out of B. Once again, this very fast upgrade play. I love this play that we are seeing from B. And I would love to accredit a build akin to this for, oh goodness, Woo's Clanity. I am losing my words tonight. Moose Thorzane. There is the expansion coming down from Pure, so we will have the 1-gate expand coming out of Pure. But Moose Thorzane used to do a build exactly like this, where he would go immediately for 2 engineering bays, get a quick 2-2 upgrade followed by Thors, and he would annihilate Protoss players. Names like MC, Huck. I watched both those players. I mean, you have getting beaten, and then you have just outright slaughter. And those players were being slaughtered by that build. Now, we do have concussive shells on the way now. I would not be surprised to see Stim Pack as well. There is not the money for it right now, so we will see if that gets dropped when he gets that gas. Two forges being dropped now. I don't know if he saw these 2 engineering bays yet. I don't think he could have. No. So we actually are just going to be seeing mass upgrades in this game. So I suspect we will be seeing a fairly passive game, all things told, in this matchup. But that is okay, because a passive game in the early to early mid game means that you have an epic game of proportions beyond this universe that comes out of the late game. Always forget to put myself on busy, I swear. Now we do have a lot of these Chrono Boost being used on probes in the early game, and now saving up and using them on these 2 forges. I do like that, and B is going to scout this double forge I don't know if he knows for certain that this Nexus is up yet. No, he does not. He has not scouted that quite yet. So that could be kind of a surprise to him if he tries to do any sort of mid-game push, as by that point, Pure's economic value will have skyrocketed. This Nexus will have paid itself off, and he will start getting that army value that he really needs. Right now, only sitting on 2 gateways, though, while B is on 3 barracks and soon to be a factory. So, really, we have rather interesting play coming out of both of these players in this matchup. Pure 1 full supply round ahead of B, 43 to 52 supply in Pure's favor. B, once again, getting supply blocked at that 43 point that we saw in last game. We do have an armory on the way now, but that is most likely for weapons and armor level 2 and not the Thor I so desire, because there is no tech lab down on this yet. Gases 3 and 4 being taken for Pure, which will allow him to really do whatever build he wants. And because this army is taking extra time, it does allow Pure to catch up in this upgrade count. However, he does not have a Twilight Council of it. As I say that, the Twilight Council is planted, so he will soon have his level 2 and level 2 ground and armor on the way. B dropping this bunker, which means that he's probably going to be expanding down here fairly shortly. I do not see a command center in his base, so I would not be surprised to see that dropped down here, because he does have his entire army moved down already. Nothing really showing his B's tech quite yet. I guess he got this factory just to get this armory. I wouldn't be surprised actually to see Ghost play out of B in this case, because it looks like he's going for a heavy rack play. He already has 2 tech labs. And if he's going for a lot of infantry upgrades in this case. So Ghost would definitely be a great follow-up, especially against Protoss. Just EMP the living hell out of all of these units. They all drop to about 2/3 health. Sentries completely lose their usefulness, and suddenly the battle swings heavily in favor of the Terran player. Eggnog is so delicious. No Charger Blink being resourced yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Templar Archive dropped for those Archons. And yes, we do have Charge Out, which is rather indicative of Templar play. It does not mean that we necessarily need to see Storm in this matchup, though, because just getting Templar or Dark Templar merely for Archons is actually potent enough. We do have an SCV just kind of sitting here. Forgot to get rallied back to the mineral line. And one thing interesting, if you guys don't already know, Observer coming in, he is going to scout this base timing and be very pleased with how late it is. If you right-click repair, the SCV will be set on auto repair, so if this bunker starts taking damage, the SCV will just start repairing it, and you would not have to tell it. And my goodness, this Observer getting pretty much a full scout into this base, being taken out by this missile turret, but getting all the information he could want. Wouldn't be surprised to see some medevacs out here. I would not be happy to see Vikings, as B has not scouted this base. He does not know if there's Colossi tech at all, and there isn't, so Vikings would be a preemptive strike. It would be a metagame play, and really you never want to play with the metagame play. That is just a good way to lose. Pure and B both going for a very, very nice macro style game, and that's always fun to watch. We do have the third now going down for AciesPure. 2-2 finishing up almost exactly the same time for both players, as well as Charge. And there is that Templar Archive I was talking about. Archon so potent in this matchup, but with Ghosts on the field, that could prove useless. But once again, no Ghosts out yet. No Ghosts out yet. And B is going to really need to start making some more production buildings if A, he wants to keep up with Pure's production, and B, if he wants to keep up with his own macro, because right now he's doing a great job of it. He's doing a great job. But the added income from this base will soon start to even out, and he is going to need a lot more production facilities. Now there is a scan here. I actually would venture to say that's a bad scan, except he got lucky because Pure was trying to hide the Templar Archives on the ground, and it just so happened that B does a bad scan and scouts that. A much better place would be over here. We do have Blink on the way now. A much better place would be to scan over here. However, he did not. So, not much to say to that. Now, we do have armor and weapons level 3 for the Protoss on the way, and just weapons level 3 for our Terran player B on the way. And actually, if Pure was planning to go for Archon all along, I don't know if he's planning on, doing a lot of Archon play, as once again he is getting the Psystorm, but if he is planning on doing any sort of Archon play in the later game, he should really think about investing in these new, cheaper shield upgrades, 150, 150 instead of 200, 200, much more viable for Protosses to use. Third base just being taken for B. B just about one step behind Pure in this matchup. Both players seem content sitting and playing a macro game. However, a macro game is almost always going to favor a Protoss player in PvT, as a maxed army of Protoss versus a maxed army of really Terran or Zerg. If it's just a straight up battle, no reinforcements, the Protoss should win pretty much the entire time, because they are more expensive units, and that means that they are heavier duty units. Now, I did hear a Warp Prism somewhere around here. Oh, yes, I did. We have 2 High Templar currently sitting up in that Warp Prism. I don't know if he's looking to do a Warp Prism drop and storm the mineral line, or if he is just looking for a faster transport. Both options are completely viable. 3-3 about to finish for both players. That, my goodness. That's about as fast of a 3-3 as you can get in StarCraft 2. Chrono Boost starting to be saved up a little bit. Actually, a relatively good job of making sure to keep using those. That's very difficult too. A lot of gateways being dropped in this main base here. We have 5 gateways plus another 4 here, minus the pylon. Oh crap, clicked the wrong thing. Well, we have 5. We have 9, 10, 11 gateways total. Any more? I mean, 11 gateways. He only has 11 gateways in this matchup. And a 4th base going down for AciesPure now, and he's setting up pylons all over the place. This is very smart. It helps Protoss players look for drops. So Protoss players, take a tip. If you have extra resources, just plant. You don't need this many pylons, I guess, but just plant like one pylon here, and go to the other side of the map, plant a pylon here, and that allows you, if there is a dropship moving along the edge of the map, you will see it with that pylon. Now, B is doing kind of the Terran equivalent. He has missile turrets set up randomly throughout the area. I believe there are only 75 minerals. I will double check that real fast. Nope, there are 100 minerals. There are 100 minerals in StarCraft 2. So, any Warp Prism play, B should be able to scout and actually shoot down. And you'll also be able to see AciesPure's army advancing. Armor level 3 now on the way for, and almost finished for B. Shields level 1, I was right on that. There is shields level 1 on the way, because why not? Pure has plenty of money to spend. He is slipping a little bit in his macro. You can see right here, his minerals and gas beginning to stockpile, considering he is not maxed out quite yet. And there we go. There we go. A huge warp-in cycle from AciesPure here, just getting a lot of stalkers onto the field. AciesPure now has a 3rd base. He is now beginning to saturate a 4th base, and B starting to really fall behind. It is 185 to 157 supply, and that is quite a large discrepancy in this matchup. Now B deciding to move out, just making a failed transfer over to his 3rd base, and a lot of units just sitting over here. I don't know if there was a Warp Prism or something over here. Yes, there's a Warp Prism right there. I wonder if B scouted that and is a little bit scared because he moved a lot of units back. However, he would be ill-advised to move at this point without the full strength of his army, considering it is 170 to 197 supply. A Stargate on the way, because at this point in the game, why not? I wouldn't be surprised to see Pure, after that Stargate finishes, lay down a fleet bacon, and yes, I did say bacon because bacon is delicious, to get that mothership out. Because if you can afford a mothership, you're sitting good. Now, look at this unit spread by AciesPure. He is unsure if B has ghosts, and so the safest way to counter that is just to spread your units out anyway. And it looks like B is going to be moving here, and the reason it's so good to spread all those units out is because the EMP radius is fairly small, and if your units are spread out, it's a little bit hard to get. Now, these rocks have not been taken out yet, so Pure has to go the long way around, and in the meantime, we do have a feedback going on a couple of these, and a beautiful storm on top of that army, and now B's army is going to get sandwiched by Pure's army coming in the back. These Chargers are going to be able to do so much damage. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if we have some nice force fields, a couple Guardian Shields get popped there. Now, this entire biological force actually holding up relatively well versus AciesPure. But in the end, it just is not going to be enough. There was one Clip Storm. There was another fairly decent Storm here. Only one Medevac remains, and that is not enough to counter all of these units and all of this Storm power. Now, there was a nice pylon kill right there. A couple of cannons getting a few free shots in on this Medevac. The Medevac does not quite fall yet, but it will not survive to see the end of the day. Minimal damage sustained by B, and look, Pure is already maxed out. He barely lost anything in that matchup. In fact, if you look at the units lost tab here, it is now 5,700 resources lost for B and only 2,300 for our Protoss player Pure. So Pure looking to be in a very good position now. Protoss shields level 2 just about to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very rare to ever see a 3-3-3 Protoss army. And if this game doesn't end here, we might end up seeing it. Pure is now moving out across the map. B really should just pull back. He needs to let a lot of these things die. And it looks like we're going to have a flanking maneuver by B. Not using his full force, though. There are a few units sitting back here. And a beautiful storm on top of that biological army on both the left and the right side. Completely annihilating everything that was in its path. B did not storm dodge there. And thus loses every unit. And there's the GG from B. Those storms were the name of the game in this matchup. Able to get beautiful, beautiful storm position on all of those units. B never had a chance once those storms went down. Lost about a fourth of his army in the first storm engagement over at Pure's fourth base, and then managed to get his army split into two groups. It looks like he was trying to do a flanking maneuver, but he didn't quite have his army synced up, and thus Pure was able to storm the left side and then the right side, and then just clean up whatever was left of that army. So a very well played game by Pure. I liked the macro style of both players, and I loved the quick upgrade play by both players. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and I will be back in just a couple of minutes to bring you another game of amateur StarCraft. So if you'd like to play, come to channel Coffee in StarCraft 2. That is Coffee with a 0. In the meantime, I'm Coffee Break, and I will be right back.